Hey guys, so this is Dwayne and Dustin, and we just got done doing a little record haul at Rasputin's and Amoeba in Berkeley. Found some really cool stuff we'll be showing you. Right now, we're walking on our way to Half Price Books.
Where I've never been.
He's never been there, I have. You can really find some cool stuff there. We're going to find out. Anyway, stay tuned, there's more. Alright guys, so we just left Half Price Books, and wasn't too eventful. There were some things in there where I had picked up a few things, but then had to kind of weed out what, I had to make choices to get what I wanted. I was shocked to see that their prices are not as good as they used to be, so I was a little disappointed in that, but we each got something, and I got one LP, you got two
from here.
So wasn't that eventful, but Rasputin's and Amoeba just always pays off. So getting ready to start up the truck and head home. yeah, we got to find a Taco Bell. Craving some Taco Bell. Stay tuned. Alright, so here we are guys. I just pulled up in the driveway, walking into the house, and I noticed this when I pulled in. Isn't that a wonderful sight? Don't you love coming home and finding that? What do you think, Dustin? Yeah? Good stuff. Let's see. Well, I don't want to show the address, but it says it's from Brett, so I think I know what that is. Stand by. Hey guys, so here we are, got home, and we have gone through our scores for the day. There's not a lot here. We each have about 10?
10. I have 9, I think.
It was a really good day. We drove out to Berkeley early this morning, and we went to Amoeba first.
Amoeba.
And then after Amoeba, we walked down the street to Rasputin's. They're literally a block from one another. And what was interesting about that, and what's really cool is, when you dig with someone, you're kind of like looking for stuff for yourself, but you're also thinking of, your buddy that's, he's in the A's and I'm in the W's, and so it's interesting to find things for each other. It's also interesting when you have the same taste to run into issues where you want the same thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, we got some metal here. I have a couple pieces that are non-metal that I'm going to show. I'm going to show those first, and then we'll get into the metal. But, both stores, what was interesting, too, that I'll comment on is, we both went down there with basically a budget, and both those stores are so massive, and we wanted to go to both. And I could have spent my entire budget just at Amoeba before even going to Rasputin's. So what was interesting about that is, the way I dig, and I think you're very similar, is I'll go through and I'll find stuff that I really want, and I carry it around with me, okay? And then once I've pretty much gone through what I want to go through, then I had to think about, okay, I could easily blow my wad here. Do I want to do that because everything I picked out I want? Or do I want to save some money for the next store because who knows what's down there, So all these things kind of come into play, It's like creative digging, or something. And I know, Dustin, you're kind of in the same situation.
How I usually do it is, the way I figured it, we didn't know if we were going to go to Half Price Books or not. We ended up going. But I was saying, okay, I have this much to spend. I can spend this much, and this much at each store. So what I do, and I think this is what you were talking about, is I go through and everything I see that I want, I carry it around so no one else can grab it. Right. Then at the end, I go through and I add it all up, and I say, okay, if I can spend $40 at this store, I add it up and it's at $130, which it usually is. I go through and I say, okay, out of these, what do I absolutely need? And then it's usually down to about 80. And then I go through that and I say, okay, what am I not going to find again?
Right.
And that's basically how I just cut it down like that, and then everything else I put down. Today, I did stash a couple things, and there was a couple...
You stashed?
Yeah. There was a couple things that I really wanted, and I wasn't sure if I was going to come back because I didn't know if I'd find anything at Rasputin's. And I actually put down back a really good deal on a new Green Day album, but
But it's brand new.
Yeah, so I'll find it again.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pay a couple more bucks for it, but
I did the same thing at Rasputin's with the new release for Yes. Because I was determined that was coming home with me. But Dustin found me something that I just could not leave there. So we'll get to that.
yeah. So all in all, it worked out. I actually $10 under budget through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one thing we both noticed, like he said, is we're expecting to come back with stacks. Last time I went down and I spent a third of what I spent last time, and I had this big of a stack. This time my
Right.
stack's about this big, but it's really good quality. Everything
Right.
I love everything I got.
Right. Both those stores, which I've shopped at many times, I'm kind of the same way. Usually I come back and you got a healthy stack. But this time it was higher dollar items. So I guess with that, let's just kind of talk about it. The first thing that I'm going to show is something that has been shown on the Facebook community lately. And when I saw this, I think it was a couple days later, Derek ended up finding a copy. And I said, that's it, I've got to find one of those. And I figured, it'd probably be a year or two before I find one. Well, once again, VC synchronicity falls into play. And what did I find? Exactly what I was looking for. And what that is this is the French pressing of Genesis Live. And if there's a glare, I apologize for that. But
We're trying out a new spot.
yeah, obviously this is a new location. So anyway, like I was saying about the synchronicity in the VC, this was shown on Facebook. I know Derek and I both went gaga over it. A couple days later, Derek ended up finding a copy, and which I couldn't believe. And I said, that's it, I got to get a copy, of course. I didn't think I'd probably find this thing for a year or two. But lo and behold, there it was, and I couldn't believe it. And in beautiful shape, this is Genesis Live. Which of course I have this, but this particular pressing is what I'm talking about, and this is the French pressing. And for those that are unfamiliar,
I bet your wife loves to hear that. I already have this, but I bought another. This one's slightly different.
don't get her started. But what I'm showing here, and the reason why, is it's that beautiful black and silver Charisma label. Just, Mad Hatter Charisma, what can you say?
That as much as I like the regular Charisma label, that one's way cooler.
It's just so slick looking.
Kind of evil looking too.
And of course with the, import inner sleeve there. So I was very happy to find this. I couldn't believe it was that easy, but you know what? That's just the vibe in the VC, and that's how it works. It's been talked about many, many times. So, okay, so I got that. You want me to go on, or are you going next?
I'll go.
All right, go.
This one, I was digging at Rasputin's, and I was in the D section. Flipped through, and the color of this album grabbed my attention originally, and I looked through and I recognized the name of the band but not the name of the album, and I go through and I say, oh, the Donnas. Dwayne, do you know this album? And I held it up and I said it was $6.99 sealed, colored vinyl, 180 gram 2 LP set. So, the name of the album's Bitchin', by the way. And he asked if there was another one, and I looked for it and there wasn't, and he's been grumpy since.
Yeah, basically, this is how it went down my side of the story. I'm digging, he's digging. He holds this up and he goes, the Donnas. Dwayne, do you know who this, do you know anything about this? And I said, yeah. I said, they're kind of like a new version of the Runaways. And he goes, wow, it's sealed, 2 LP for $6. And I immediately was like, oh my God, is there another one? And so he looked and there was not another one. So he got it, and I've been bummed ever since. I'm happy for him, believe me. It's a hell of a score.
They cover Safety Dance, which we listened to on an iPhone on the way home just to get an idea.
It's killer stuff. So that was a really good score. Okay, so the next one I'm going to show is another one of my favorite bands. I've done a spotlight collection on this band, so you guys know I've explained all that before. I used to have this, I think I still do have this on CD. But it was never released to my knowledge, I could be wrong here, in the States on vinyl. This is a Holland pressing, And I was very happy to find this. This is Edge of the Century by Styx. And this is the album. Dennis DeYoung is on here. James Young is on here. This is the album without Tommy Shaw. A much lighter Styx album, but still, you know, as a completist. And, you know, this is not, you don't find this in the record store every day, that's for sure. So I was very happy to find this. Just gorgeous condition. So
I'm a big Tommy Shaw fan, so I don't think I've ever heard that album.
Yeah,
he's my favorite member. Got this at Half Price Books when we went, and it was, I think, $8, something like that. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be as cheap as it was, and that's Ultra Beatdown by DragonForce.
Great album.
Lean back a little bit. Maybe it was just, yeah,
there you go.
There it is. All right, there it is, guys. All right, but yeah, this was sealed at Half Price Books for $8.
The Guitar Hero Gods.
Yeah, Studio Force. You guys know them.
Killer stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, good find.
Haven't heard it yet, so happy to get that.
Shredder.
Yeah.
And then okay, what I have next is another Grail piece, and yes, I keep saying I will do a spotlight collection on this band.
Be like 5 video series.
But this was brand new, still sealed. Had to have it. Another bootleg. This is the 1981. December 21st, 1980 recording Live at the Rainbow, Iron Maiden. So this is fairly new. I think this just came out like last year. You know, I've seen it online and whatnot, but I have never seen it in the store. So it was brand new. Maiden, had to have it.
My find to match that, which is not quite as awesome as a Maiden bootleg, as it's the band cover, but To Hell with the Devil by Stryper.
And that was sealed, right?
Yeah, sealed, $7. And I don't have this album yet. My Stryper's actually gone up recently.
Yeah.
Got Yellow and Black Attack, which I haven't shown yet, so you guys don't know that. Soldiers Under Command, that single I got when we were at the Maiden show.
In God We Trust, you have that?
And no, not yet. Okay. I need that one still. But yeah, this is a great album. It's not the band cover, which is more of like a comic-y drawn cover. But I don't know why it's banned. Because politics.
Whatever. Politically correct. Okay, now this next one, this is the album I was talking about where I was going to buy the Yes. But considering it was, you know, it's a brand new album, this next one is not. And what's very cool about this is, we'll back up a little bit here. This is a band that when I met Dustin, he was shocked, literally shocked that I had never heard this band. And I hadn't. I had never heard them. And so he was going to bring me some CDs, I think. But
never got around to that.
But before he got to that, we ended up going to the Maiden show. So I rode with Dustin on the way back from the Maiden show, and he put this on and said, "This is the band I want you to listen to." And I was immediately blown away and said, I've got to have that if we ever find it. Well, lo and behold, this is the album, and you know, if you know this band, you know. If you don't, my God, this is Second Heat by Racer X, and this is just so insanely good.
This album actually features Scott Travis, who later was in Judas Priest for the Painkiller album, Paul Gilbert on guitar, and John Aldretti, who's actually with the Mars Volta right now. And he actually won a Grammy with him. And if you guys know who Jeff Martin is, he's the singer. Amazing, like Rob Halford type high vocals. Mm-hmm. This one features a student of Paul's named Bruce Boyer. And basically they both were just extremely good shredders. They had such good harmonies. Twin guitar attack by these guys. And this is the second album by Racer X. Now the first album I picked up because I have that one. I didn't have this one. This is Street Lethal by Racer X. This is our first one, 1986. That one is 1988. This one was Racer X featuring Paul Gilbert, or with Paul Gilbert, sorry. There. And this one had a different drummer and it didn't have Bruce on it, but there's plenty of shredding on this album still. If you find either of these for 10 to 15 bucks, grab them. 15 bucks would be like more in mint shape, but 10 bucks is what we scored these for, and that's about the lowest you're going to get them for without going on eBay.
I have never been so instantly drawn to a band in a long time like I was this. Well, except now, White Wizard.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the new one that I'm after now.
That's what I ended up burning for him instead of this. Yeah. There's actually a track on this first one called YRO. You know what that stands for?
No.
Yngwie ripoff.
So that'll give you an idea of the style of shredding. Okay, these next ones, this was at Half Price Books, and they had 2 copies of this, and Dustin and I bought both copies. One because of the album and who it is, and the second because we just thought how cool that we both score the same record. I was talking about earlier how it's hard when you're crate digging with someone and you both like the same thing, and there's only one copy. Well, this one we lucked out. We both got a copy, and it's One Way Ticket to Hell by The Darkness.
This is like a Christmas picture right here.
And, what I know about this album is, unlike their first album, this is a heavier album. This is a more serious album. It is a gatefold, and I believe these are promo copies because it comes with the parental advisory stickers and review blurbs right on the jacket itself. So,
and these weren't actually sealed, but...
Right.
They were both in like mint shape. Like,
so
they just looked like someone took the shrink off and put them on the shelf.
Yeah, and that's what's making me think these are promos. But I know you can quote me on this. This album in 2 years, good luck finding it without paying probably $50 or more. So, got that.
Kind of a similar score here. We were at Amoeba.
You got the album. I got a 12-inch single from the album.
Yeah. I didn't have this yet. Dwayne already did, so I got this as Turbo. And there's actually a song on Second Heat, the Racer X album he got, that was meant for this album and given from Judas Priest to Racer X. It's called Heart of Alliance, the first track on side 2. But a lot of people turned off from this album, but this is one of my favorites actually. It's not going to be in my top 5, but it's a favorite.
Out in the Cold, I love that song. And then, like you were talking about Heart of a Lion, Priest gave it to Racer X to record, but then later Priest recorded it.
No, it was actually before.
It was before.
Yeah, they recorded a demo, which you can find on YouTube. Just type in Judas Priest Heart of a Lion. And then actually Halford, in his band Halford, had recently has recorded a cover of it, which is the worst of the 3, I'll say, but it's still out there.
And then this was a $1.99 score that actually Dustin found for me. He got to the Priest section before I did, and was nice enough to ask me if I wanted this, which of course I did. And for $1.99, heck yeah! It's a promo 12-inch for Locked In off of Turbo. It's got the promo blurb sticker on the jacket as well as on the label and the stamp on the back. And as usually found with promo copies, it's like mint vinyl. So for $1.99, add to my Priest collection.
And it actually has 2 versions of it, doesn't it? What are the 2 different versions?
I think they're both the album version.
Are they?
Album version.
Single version.
Single version. Yeah, it is 2 different.
So that's cool. It's something you didn't have before.
Yeah.
And then this. Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Another one we both got, and I'll start with my side of the story. I'm going through, and we're getting almost ready to go, and I said, hey, I'm going to go look through the D's, see if I can find some Danger. That's a small grail of mine, their first album. And I go through, and I pick up this album, and it looks like Donald Duck. And that's what I saw. I turn around, and it's some guys in Hawaiian shirts, and it looks like they might be metal. And it's sealed, it's $3.99, and I look at Dwayne, I said, Dwayne, have you ever heard of these guys, Digger? He lunges at me, grabs it out of my hands, and gasps. And that's where you come in.
Okay. I have been looking for this album for so long, and what this album is this was released in 86. Needless to say, we each got a copy. There were 2 copies. Both of them are white label promos.
Both of them were sealed. Both of them were $3.99.
$3.99 and sealed.
I want to say mint.
Yeah. But basically, this is, if you're familiar with the band, this is Gravedigger. That's who this is. But on this album, they are called Digger, and the reason why is Gravedigger is more of a power metal band. And this, when they made this was basically, they took a stab at kind of more mainstream hair metal. And I think they kind of did it for fun. And they released this, Stranger Than Ever, and I had never heard it. I've been after this for a long, long time. And when he held that up and it was sealed in $3.99, yeah, I lunged at him. I couldn't believe it was there.
And then luckily I looked and there was a second copy, like not even near it, in the back.
So
I was getting jealous right away, and then I found one.
Yeah, so this was just a killer fun.
And then we get home.
Oh, that's right.
We get home and I open up my copy and I say, okay, we got to play this and see what it sounds like, because he said he's never heard it before.
Right. And
put it on there.
It's good. It is good. Yeah. Yeah, he put
not,
it on.
Not as bad as my hand just made it seem.
Yeah.
But his had a tiny bit, and even though this was sealed, the shrink got to it, and it's a tiny bit warped. So I'm going to put it up, and hopefully the weight of some records will flatten it out.
Yeah.
But $3.99, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it was $3.99, and I'll find it again.
Yeah, and mine has a little bit of a lift to it too, but it does play fine. And this is on Noise International, and if you're unfamiliar with Noise, it's one of my favorite metal labels. They gave us bands like Halloween, amongst others. But so that's the story behind that album. So 2 sealed copy. I couldn't believe that. After I've been looking for it for so long. And
this
then,
one.
Here's another funny story. Okay, so recently, in one of the videos we did, I showed the first Winger album, and how, I spent years and years never interested in buying that album because it was just too mainstream, whatever. All I knew was the bubblegum hit off of it and whatnot, and Dustin basically forced that album down my throat.
I told him how good it was. He didn't believe me. I bought it for him.
And so he bought it for me and actually delivered it here and said, "Here, listen to it." And I did, and I was actually very surprised at how good that album is. Well, not long after that, I was in a thrift store and I found the Winger 4 album on CD, and so I picked that up for like $1 or whatever, and that really impressed me. So while we're there, I was looking and I found this still sealed for $2.99. $2.99. It was still sealed. This is Winger 2.
This is my second favorite Winger album.
And so for $2.99, I said, okay, I'm going to buy this. But when I found it, I'm like, oh my God, it's sealed for $2.99. I'm sure Dustin has it, so I've got to grab it. And so I add it to my stack, and we're walking along and digging, and Dustin kind of, I guess he saw it kind of poking out, and it was that, what is that? And he pulls it out, and he's like, oh, I can't believe you found that. And I'm like,
you tried to beat me in the Winger,
right?
man.
I know, right? Sealed, $2.99, and he's like, I don't have that. And so I buy it. And as we're walking down to the next store, I'm like, I felt so bad. I'm like, dude, do you want that? I'll find it, He's like, no. So he's letting me
want to find my own copy.
Yeah, I guess he wants to find his own copy, but so, it's things like this that just, it made the day, if you know what I'm talking about. It was so fun,
He tripled the amount of Winger I have after not liking him in like 2 weeks.
So,
he's been on a hot streak, so you know what?
We just had an absolute blast. But so we both have a couple more pieces here.
This next one I saw, and I haven't seen this on vinyl, and I've loved this album. It was actually a pretty decent price too. It was at the lower end,
comeback record.
the lower end of what you're going to get a new album for. That's Saints of Los Angeles by Motley Crue, and this is 180 gram. We played this before, and there's so much bass on this album.
Yeah,
but
thick.
This is a really good album. If you guys like Motley Crue, you'll definitely love this. It's a little modern sounding, but in the right ways.
It sounds like a modern Motley Crue.
Yeah.
It sounds like Motley Crue a la, what is that, 2009?
8.
2008. You know, it's a good album, and this is going to be an album, I guarantee it, that is going to just sound better and better as time goes on.
And as we're driving home, this is sitting half covered by a bag up to here.
Yeah.
And Dwayne keeps looking down, and I'm looking down there, and I've just been staring at it.
God, that looks
and
like
I say,
something.
yeah, I say, wait, where have I seen it before? White Lion Pride, from that far up, the top part, and down here is the same exact. I mean, even if you count this,
maybe what I'll do is I'll insert. Hold that up.
I'm gonna insert this right here, or hold this right here.
I will insert a quick clip of the cover of White Lion Pride, which came out in 89?
89, 88, somewhere in there.
And I swear to God, it's like, I swear Motley Crue ripped them off.
Right there.
They ripped them off. But anyway.
What do you guys think? Does this look like this?
Well, it's not going to be here. It'll just be a flash of, yeah.
Okay, does this look like this? Just, you're not even going to cut it. You're going to put it back there and make me look like an idiot.
We'll see. Okay, so then here's another 12-inch that I picked up. You know, this is classic. And my God, the playlist that's on here is just insane. But you know, back in the '80s, we had we had Live Aid, we had Band Aid. We Are the World. Yeah. All these, you know, where you get all this, you know, the major stars at the time together, and they do an album. Well, this was the metal version, and
it's an import, right?
Yeah, and the band was called Hearing Aid, and they released an album. And this is a import 12-inch on Vertigo, of all labels, which is very cool for this.
And it says who does what solo and who sings.
Right, and so this is the, you know, Eric Bloom from BOC.
Yeah. Paul Shortino, Rough Cut, Jeff Tate.
Yeah.
Dokken, Halford.
It goes on and on and
Dave
on.
Manchetti from Y&T.
Yeah. But this is the 12-inch single for Stars. Like I said, this is a UK import on Vertigo, and I think this was $1.99.
That's the best single you'll ever get for $1.99. Guarantee it.
So yeah, if you like 80s metal, this is just mandatory. You know, just absolutely mandatory. So had to get that for $1.99.
Keeping with the Motley Crue, I haven't actually opened this yet. It's in a Blake sleeve, but it's still sealed inside. But it's the reissue of Too Fast for Love, first Motley Crue album.
Yep, 180 gram.
Yeah, 180 gram. We'll see how this sounds. This is gonna sound awesome.
It's gonna sound awesome.
Yeah, Dwayne has this, and I was fighting between this, and I guess it turned out to be a reissue of what was it? Megadeth. Which one was it?
Oh,
was it Rust in Peace?
No.
Was doesn't matter.
Which one was it? It was a Megadeth reissue.
Yeah. So I decided to go with this because the other one was opened and it was only $2 cheaper than this one, and I've been needing this album anyway. But yeah, he has this. He said it's going to sound awesome, and this is the second Motley Crue reissue. I have the Shout at the Devil. Mm-hmm. But I like how they did the little fake wear.
Yeah, these come printed with imitation ringwear.
Just like the other Motley Crue one and the Steel Panther balls out.
Yeah. Yeah,
no little
classic.
fake tag though.
And then this one was I like to look at the soundtracks when I go, and I don't always remember to. So this time I did remember, and I didn't find any of the soundtracks I was actually looking for. But in flipping, I found this, and I was immediately stricken by the cover. I've never heard of the movie, and so I flipped it over, and I couldn't believe what this turned out to be. And it's on Metal Blade, and it's the soundtrack to the movie Black Roses. And so now I got to find this movie. But this is basically what this is I'm assuming this is a movie about a band called the Black Roses, because there's a made-up band that recorded this called the Black Roses, which is made up of Carmine Apiece, amongst others. The names are slipping me now, but you also have Lizzie Borden on here, Bang Tango,
King
Cobra, Hollow's Eve. So when I got this home, or when we got home, this is one of the ones that I first played, and this album kicks ass. So if you ever stumble across this will blow your metal mind. This was awesome.
Show them a close up of that picture because I never saw that. That I just saw.
Yeah, if anyone's seen this movie, let me know what this is about. Because now, just listening to the soundtrack, I was so blown away. I've got to see the movie.
The band on here.
It's probably
great.
This is 1988, so this is probably some cornball horror heavy metal movie. I don't know, which is fine with me because I love that shit. Yeah. But this was awesome, and this was, I think, $3.99. If I remember right. But plus it is on Metal Blade, and anything they put out, is going to be listenable. So grab that, and that wraps up our scores. But
it's a whole day of digging,
and killer day it was. So just wanted to say thanks everybody for tuning in and watching. Thank you to all of the subscribers, and thank you to all of my new subscribers. I know when you subscribe because I get an email. I'm so bad about getting back to comments and personal messages and whatnot. It's gotten to the point now where there's so many. I'll have someone message me and say, hey, you never answered my message. Well, it's because your message is like 6 pages back. It's just, they get bumped off. So just bear with me on that.
I've actually been starting to have this problem. Thanks to anybody that subscribed to me after watching these videos. I've gotten like 60 subscribers in the last month. So thanks to everybody.
Yeah, and definitely check out Dustin's channel, and maybe sometime soon I'll appear on one of his videos.
Yeah.
And
you're getting all the publicity from me. All these double videos. They're always going on his channel.
But let us know. Definitely let us know if you guys like these. So far, the response has been really good. So for Laz, as always, peace. Stay in the groove.
Rock on, VC Universe.
Cheers.
Just start from talking about that album.
I can edit it out.
Just start from the beginning of the album, and you can cut right to when you started.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we are recording.
You guys aren't going to see this.
If you do, it's by pure mistake. We should do like a
blooper,
reel.
Once we get a fair amount of videos, we can do
total
bloopers and
reel.
outtakes.
Yeah, bloopers and outtakes.
Oh man, the dog farts.
Did he?
No, just something like that.